Welcome to us.
Hello there. You're finally here. Maybe you want to improve your aim in your favorite FPS game, and one of your friends said this would. Or maybe you just like the music. Well, nevertheless, you're here now. When you boot up the game, you're presented with some songs and a tutorial. You try the tutorial and it seems alright. You might try a map or two, but the experience doesn't immediately hook you, and so you sign off for the day. The next day, you're looking to play that FPS game with your friend, and you decide that maybe playing Osu will make your aim a little bit better. You decide to get some new songs from your favorite anime, and this time, you enjoy the game a bit more. Maybe you can even pass a 2-star by now, and it's cool to see such obvious improvement. You continue to play here and there. You don't see any improvement in your aim in that FPS game, but it doesn't deter you. You start to focus more on things like passing your first 3-star, and less on whether it's actually helping your aim. You begin to play a bit more, and after seeing your progression, you're more motivated than ever. You pass your first 4-star, and then FC a 3-star. You make it to 6 digits. For some reason, that FPS game you wanted to play originally is starting to seem a little less interesting. It feels good to rank up, and you start trying to find maps that specifically increase it. But this is just the beginning. You start to watch other players, and you hear a lot about this Kakizi guy. He plays maps that are nothing like anything you've seen before. And you think about how cool it would be to even be able to play those maps. And so you start to play even more. You pass your first 5-star. And maybe you even start to grind for an FC on a 4-star. But it's much harder than you thought, and so you decide to look up a video on the easiest 4-star farm maps. And it opens you up to a whole new world. A whole new world of maps that are so much easier than they should be. You start by setting rank goals, and at first everything is great. You gain rank so quickly, and the rush after a good play is incredible. You get to rank 200,000, which makes you happy. By now, 4-star maps seem easy, and 5-star maps aren't too bad. And so, you want to pass a 6-star. You try it, and it seems relatively doable, but you can't seem to get it. You try again the next day, and then the day after that, and the one after that. After a week of trying, it starts to seem like a wall that you can't break down. It's demotivating to have such thorough evidence that you can't do something. You're also watching a whole lot more good players, and it seems like that could be you if only you could play a bit more. And so, you decide to farm more of the 5-star maps that are already out of your skill range to get that adrenaline rush. And after doing this for a month or so, you've made it to the top 150k. When you try for that 6-star pass again, it's hard, but not impossible. You see the fruits of your effort when you play more, and that motivates you. You're improving so fast that you think maybe you're the next Kakizi or White Cat. You don't play that FPS game much anymore. Why would you when you could be playing OS instead? This goes on for a month or so until you finally reach it. 5 digits. You're now a player in the top 0.01 percentile, which makes you feel like you're on top of the world. But this is where things become a bit harder. You farmed so much that it's impossible to gain rank unless you play maps hundreds of times. You also realize that you have problems. Your accuracy is awful because you played too many maps outside of your skill range, and you can't hit any complicated patterns. Your top plays become fewer and further between, and you begin to think that it might not have been worth it to farm so much, because now you feel like it's impossible to make any progress. It's incredibly demotivating to not see any progress in terms of that number. And even though, after playing a bit more, you can play all sorts of fun and interesting maps, it seems irrelevant when you can't see it increase. You begin to play a bit less, and farming seems a little bit less exciting. But after a month or so, you have a day where everything just clicks. It feels like you can do everything. Maps that were previously insanely challenging become doable, and maps you had no chance of passing become those insane maps. It feels great, but after a week, the feeling starts to wear off, and those insane maps that once felt incredible FC become the new norm. And although you climb the ranks for that short period of time, it now, once again, feels like every farm map is a wall which will take hundreds of attempts to break down. This cycle, at first, seems very strange, but after a while, you come to expect the long periods of stagnation before a huge bump in skill. It repeats, over and over, at 75k, at 50k, and then when trying to get to 20,000. By now, you have hundreds of hours in the game, and you start to be able to see the horizon. 6 stars are FCable, which would have been incredible a year ago at 100,000, but now you've seen other people improving faster than you, and you become disillusioned, realizing that you're not the next Kakizi or White Cat, and you're not even improving as fast as most. You start playing only for improvement, which works. You play square practice maps and stream practice maps. The music isn't even a factor anymore, you'll do whatever it takes. And even though you aren't having any fun anymore, you press on. First, you reach the top 20,000, then the top 15,000. At this point, 4 digit seems right around the corner, and so you decide it's time to farm. Playing farm maps hundreds of times makes you remember the feeling The Rush, and you get hooked on it again. You spend hours playing a small pool of maps, which are both unfun and tedious, and you get closer and closer, until finally, you get to within 1,000 ranks of your coveted 10,000, and your goal is finally on the horizon. You've climbed the tower, and now you're on the final floor. Finally, after years of playing, you've reached the summit, and with a 20-second farm map, you make it into the top 10,000. It feels oddly unsatisfying for something you worked so hard for. You realize there are still 10,000 other people who are better than you, and that making it into the top 10k is not quite as significant as you thought it was. It becomes harder to stay motivated to improve. And although you do keep playing, new top plays are fewer and further between, and you realize that it might not have been wise to farm so much. It seems redundant to set another goal after the biggest one ever felt so lifeless. You even feel the urge to quit forever. But every time you promise yourself you won't play and that you'll focus on other things, you fail and come back day after day. You remember that phrase you heard, "You're here forever." It feels much more visceral now. It's frustrating how hard it is to stop. You can't even remember what motivated you to play in the first place. You consider getting yourself banned, but it seems too extreme, and so you keep playing. But slowly, you start to play less and less. Not playing stops being a challenge and instead becomes the new norm. You finally have a chance to take a step back and smell the roses. You start to play maps with the sole purpose of having fun, and you realize you can play all those maps you envied players like Akizi FC. And it starts to seem silly how much you got torn up over a game about clicking circles. And you're actually having fun. The game stops being an addiction, and instead becomes a game again. Congratulations. You made it past the horizon, into the top.
Welcome to us.
And please, just enjoy game.